One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is one of those days where it's not a jovial thing to be talking to you today. In fact, most of what I want to say, I can't even say until tonight's show when we do the Rumble Jump Over. You see, one of the big problems in our country is we can't even freely address what's really wrong. We're not even allowed to discuss that, hey, something's not right here. The powers that be have told us not only do you have to accept it, you have to embrace it. You're not even allowed to have an opposing opinion, even if there's consistent data and evidence that shows something's really effing wrong. Don't you dare talk about it. Oh, if you talk about it, you're being some kind of phobic. And on and on and on. And I think after today, people have had enough. We're done playing your Halloween cosplay games. It's over. Go F yourself. And I lose my religion by saying that because my compassion is obviously out to the families, and my compassion also goes out to the families, or the extended family, of the idiot that did, no, not idiot, the evil that struck people today. My blessings are upon them right now. See, that's where it's really hard. There's a lot of people like, Barry, why are you blessing his family? We have to. We have to. And here's why. I've been telling you unapologetically for quite some time now that we are in a war. And a lot of people, yeah, Barry, yeah. Do you see it? Are you starting to see it now? Were you waiting for airplanes or tanks or something to convince you that we're in a war? Well, because if that's what you were looking for, you're going to be grossly disappointed. It's not that kind of a war. And at this point, if I lose subscribers with what I'm about to say, so be it. We are in a war for your soul. We are not fighting Democrats. We are not fighting the Black Bloc Antifa. We are not fighting phobia. We are fighting evil. And until enough people rise up and say, we're done with you people. We are done with you people. No, we don't want to unite with insanity. No, we do not want to unite with any of this stuff that they're saying. And I'm being very couchy with my words so as not to get a switch flipped. Because at some point, and I hope when we talk to Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman actually has him booked, we can say, hey, listen, there's news out there. And we should be allowed to call a spade a spade. We should be allowed to say, yeah, you know what? This shit's crazy. Without anybody going, oh my God, they're being phobic. We need to stop and cancel them. No. Enough is enough. The pushback must begin, and it must begin in earnest. We must say loudly, scream from the top of our lungs, we're done. Like the guy in Network, forget his name, we're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. And I am not advocating for anybody, and please, nobody strike back. Strike back from here. Strike back from here. Strike back from here. Pour it on them. Like flaming hot heaping coals. Pour it on them. Let them be the ones to have to shun from it, not us. Everywhere you see it, call it out. Call it for what it is. When we're walking around in the street, there's no censors that are going to tell us we can't say it. Hey, you need some flipping help. Well, Barry, that's offensive. You know, the people might get mad. Really? How mad will they get? Will they go shoot up a school? Done with it, man. You are now the enemy. I can't even show it here. I'm going to show it tonight. I saw a 6 or 7 year old kid who just sat there and, you know, he can't even process what he just saw. And I'm like, God, pray for this kid. I think I posted, I said, just pray. Just pray. Because there's no counseling that is going to help that kid other than prayer. My gosh, we were in church. We were worshiping. We were saying prayers. And I asked JJ, Pastor JJ, my lawyer JJ, my friend JJ, I said, can you put together a quick prayer? And you know, obviously he's busy. I don't know if he could do it. Hopefully we'll have something tonight. There are going to be a lot of people ailing going, again, the same question comes up. How does this happen? How come babes, young kids, innocence is stolen? If you want to play cosplay and you want to run around and dress like something you're not, yeah, that's on you. You're an adult. But I saw a video yesterday where somebody said their 18-month-old son said he wants to, you know, put on a dress. And I'm like, 18 months? At 18 months, you're barely getting used to the nipple. And already at 18 months, this mom's like, yeah, he said he wants to be, you know what. And I'm being very careful because I'm pretty sure the powers that be are out in full force today. I'm sure they're just watching very intently. Don't you do it. Don't do it. Ashley made a great point. The evil one made a whole manifesto, all kinds of different videos. Put them on YouTube. Said everything he wanted to say. And no censor caught him. And she's like, how is that possible? Because when me, or Benny, or any of these other people talk, There's people who report that. Hey, look what Barry said. You guys might want to come take a look at this. But when the evil ones put stuff up, they applaud. It's works that they approve of. And because it's works that they approve of, nothing ever happens. So tonight, I'm actually going to promote tonight over even what we're going to talk about today. Tonight, I have a copy of all this, not all, but most of this guy's, most of their videos. And it's some of the most disturbing things you ever want to see. But you have to see it. You see, too many people want to look away. They don't want to realize the evil that you really face. Oh no, you need to tune in tonight at 7 o'clock and see all that goodness. I was debating whether I should even go live on YouTube at all tonight, but I'll preface it. And then when we do the jump over, because I've got Ben Dykes, we're going to talk early, then we're going to do the jump over. I'm going to show you all these videos. See, a lot of people have been trying to show them, and people here have been taking it down real fast. They won't do that on Rumble. You're going to see it. You're going to hear it. You're going to look right into the face of evil. Put on your necklaces with the cross, pray beforehand, and be ready to face evil. And you can't look away because you need to know what you're up against. At this point, the dam is breaking. And I say that with all sincerity. Let me just show you this one. Where is this? This is from John Strand. That dam is about to break. The uncomfortable truth is that it is indeed a mental illness. But it's not random like a flu. This infection has been manufactured in what it, in essence, has been a spiritual biolab of sorts. Engineered to erode our biological and moral anchors to reality. And that word absolutely means the rejection of good, the rejection of God. They've done their best. They've been steadfast. They've removed the Bible. They've removed prayer. They've split up homes. And now they've gone to the complete extreme where people don't know what's up, what's down, what's right, what's wrong, and there's no foundation under these people. They've completely absorbed, and I'm going to go there, all this MK Ultra BS that's been thrust upon them. The Democrats are not a political party. The Democrats are not an adversary to Republicans. The Democrats are adversaries to God. They are godless. They are soulless. Now, I'm sure there's a few in there, but you better speak out. Otherwise, we're going to have to label your entire party as being evil. Because as of today at 3 o'clock when I logged on, I didn't see any Democrats saying, you know what, we got to stop this craziness. We're done. Nope. Full force. They're blaming the instrument that the guy used, or gal, whatever, instead of the person that you have bred, that you have thrust upon the normies and said, you gotta take it or else. I, for one, am done with it. It's absolutely crazy. President Trump posted a proclamation honoring the victims of the tragedy in Minneapolis as a mark of respect for the victims of the senseless acts of violence perpetrated on August 27, 2025 in Minneapolis by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and laws of the United States of America. I hereby order that the flag of the United States shall be flown at half-staff and at the White House upon all buildings and public spaces, yada, yada, yada. And I will say right now, I've reached a point where I've got my first big issue with President Trump. Because when I read this, I'm like, no, no. Do not lower the flags to half-staff. Don't do that. Fly it boldly. Let everybody know who can see the flag. In every building across the country, we are standing strong. We are not on our knees, and we are standing strong for the victims. We are not mourning. We are fighting for them. I'm pissed off. I don't want to mourn anymore. I want to go, as President Trump said, on the offensive, the Department of War. I don't want to be the Department of Defense and reacting. I think now we need to be proactive. I think we need to take the fight to where the fight is. And I feel personally today, after all days, kids, 8 and 10 years old, more still in critical condition, that these kids don't want our mourning. God doesn't want our mourning. God wants us to stand up and be ready to be like that one man I talk about in every single show since March 18th. We need to step up and do something. And I don't mean violence. I mean take it back. Go back into the closets and basements from where you came. We don't want to see it in the streets. We don't want to see it in the libraries. I knew once I saw these shows happening in libraries, I'm like, oh, we're screwed. Oh, we know where this is headed. And since we knew where it was headed, we should have done something about it. Done. I don't want to see a flag at half-staff. And now I'm going to go even further. There are so many people in our audience, so many people that I've talked to over the years, over and over, who think it's some sort of tinfoil conspiracy, who think like, oh, these guys are weird, man. They've been talking about this stuff. They're Q-tards and they're this and they're that. Well, you know what? That red pill right now tastes really, really good. That red pill is all we all should be ingesting. That red pill is going to stop all of this crap. Because when you understand what the red pill has been doing to so many people, and you realize the blinders that everybody thought we had on, the tinfoil hat that everybody said we were wearing, is now mainstream. You can go back and talk to other people. If you guys were here last night, I didn't know we were being prophetic. How many of you guys in the chat can tell me? How many of you guys in the chat were here last night when I was talking to Alpha Warrior? And what did we say? Something is about to happen. Said it last night. Everybody, keep your heads on swivels. Football games, schools coming back, NFL, college. I actually said those very words. Be careful. Barry, how did you know? What did you know? How could you possibly know? Because I know evil. Not Democrat, Republican. I know evil. Evil is going to strike. They're going to strike visibly. And guess what? They're probably not done. In fact, I would almost say, I guarantee you they're not done. Did you notice over the last week or so, maybe 10 days, how many fake events happened on campuses? And Alpha Warrior and I spoke last night. Hey, man, you think that was a dry run? Oh, yeah, that's a dry run. They want to see response times. They want to know what they... We said it last night. Literally, probably 14 hours, whatever it was, 20 hours ago. We said it. How did we know? Because it's been foretold. It's been foretold because we did that. We took the one on the right, or depending on how you're looking at it, the one on the left. And we're not done. There's too many of us. Because now we're just watching... Let me just check this one off because that happened. Where are you? Where are you at this point in your journey of red or blue? Because at this point, you either take that red pill and understand you're in a battle of good and evil, or you take that blue pill and just go on to the next channel and go in some wormhole and never find out what the hell's going on. We talked about this last night. And Alpha posted this morning. Deadly calms. This tragedy will unfold with more details in time, but do not mistake the deadly calms being signaled against President Trump. Pray for our president, pray for our nation, and pray for all those who've been caught and will be caught in the crossfire. The deep state is cornered, and when predators are cornered, they escalate. Expect their desperation. Expect their chaos. Let me stop there for a second. Rob and I go out to dinner on the weekends because I do 2 shows a day here. And then we go to football games. And I tell you, I feel like when I go out at this point, I'm in the military. Watching everything. Watching someone come in the front door. Are they wearing a coat? It's 95 degrees out. Why is he wearing a coat? Oh, okay. And he takes off his coat. I watch everything. The cars that park up, where they park, how they're walking up, how they seem to be handling themselves, where we get seated, where's the closest exit, what can I do at this table if something happens? Can I get Robin under this table and I'll actually feel the table. Is this going to be strong enough to guard her? And I do it. I feel like the guy from Matt Damon in The Bourne Identity. And you scan very quickly. It's almost to the point, not almost, it is to the point now, she does the same thing. We're in the, hey, you see that guy over there? Yeah, you watching him? Yeah, I'm watching him. I saw him when we came in. And it's so weird because I'll say, sometimes she'll test me. What do you see over there? Over here's a guy, and he's got glasses on and he's wearing this and that. Like, yeah, because I'm walking in and I'm scanning. You see, once you walk in, you scan your surroundings as you sit, and then you face anything else that adds to that situation. So you know who's around you. You scan them, make sure there's nothing wrong, and then you watch what gets added to the situation. What else is being brought in to the environment? At this point, it's second nature, but it may sound weird to you, but I'm telling you, there's a lot more people who feel that weirdness and it has become second nature because this is where we are. We are at a point right now where people are going to be doing different things, crazy things. So let's continue with what Alpha said. This is survival for them. And they will burn everything around them to cling to power. Watch DEFCON Circ 00Q last night if you want to know how and why. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and stay in prayer. Stay vigilant, stay strong, and stay in prayer. You have to. Your survival is dependent upon it. When you drop your kids off at school, like the parents who dropped their kids off at school this morning. Why was there no metal detector? Why was there no armed guard? Why was there no perimeter protection? When you're driving little Sally, are you noticing this yourself? Like, wait a second. There's nobody at the front door. And then try it yourself. Get out your car, wait until after school starts, don't do it at the beginning. Wait till after school starts, like 20 minutes after it, and walk in. And see how far you can get before somebody goes, hey, who are you? Because by the time they stop you, it's too late. Somebody who has ill intentions is already in the building. Try it. You will be shocked. I'm halfway into the door and I'm walking towards the classrooms and somebody comes out, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Pop up. There. Okay, you were easy. And everybody, not everybody, many people are taking their children to school this week and next week. And they're, turning over their prized possessions and saying, you are going to take care of them like I take care of them, correct? Okay, we got this. Well, then how the hell am I just walk into this school? Nobody stopped me. How did I walk into this football practice? Nobody stopped me. And of course, I don't expect you to walk in there with a weapon, but take something else of lead and put it in your pocketbook or your pocket. Just a piece of a pipe. And see how far you can walk around them grounds of that school with that piece of pipe. And then, once you've done that, you go home and talk to your husband and wife and say, honey, we got a problem. Yeah, I walked all over the school grounds with lead in my pocket, and nobody knew. That's when you're going to have that real big discussion with your other party. And say, this was scary. Could you just pretend you're packing, and see how far you get. And as you're doing that, I want you to gauge how many victims you would have had, potentially. And it's going to scare the ever-living crap out of you. Because there are too many lax schools that thinking it's not going to happen here. And there's too many people doing evil looking for those schools who say, it's not going to happen here. See, they're out there working. They're out there scouting. They're looking for vulnerabilities. You're smiling and dropping off little Sally. Then off to the dry cleaners or to the gym or wherever. And you're thinking little Sally is going to be fine. But you don't realize how much in trouble little Sally could be until you see it on the news. Because they're looking. I'm going to prove that to you tonight, because tonight when I show you what the videos that this person made, and they have diagrams and sketches and all kinds of things of, hey, this door is going to be the easiest entry, these windows, they're looking. You're smiling, and it's just a great day, and their hair is perfect. I love your little shoes, and I hope I see you later. Not with holes in you. And then you're off to your day. I'm like, oh, I got to pick her up at 2:30, 3 o'clock. And once I pick her up, but you're hoping you don't get that phone call at about 10:15 that says, yeah, you dropped off little Sally, and guess what? She's not coming home, because we don't have any magnetometers, and we don't have any armed school guards that know what they're doing. So I know that probably chilled a bunch of you right now, but that's something that people need to understand. It's at this point, it's crazy. Nick Sorter, he posted this, and I completely believe it. President Trump should immediately sign an executive order directing federal agencies to reclassify that stuff as a mental illness. I'm sick and tired of pretending like it's not. No more children should die at the hands of these people. Who disagrees with that? You? Not me? I think it's long overdue. Long overdue. Further, the FBI is now investigating the incident as an act of domestic chaos and a hate crime targeting Catholics, per Kash Patel. The FBI is calling it what it is. And I think that investigation needs to go further into these social media companies. Excuse me. For one reason, they don't allow us to talk about it. You're not even allowed to discuss it. Number two, associated with this post are a bunch of pictures. And those pictures could reveal something that you guys need to see, but you're not allowed to show it because it might be offensive. This good and evil fight will continue until what's the saying? Evil continues because silence, I don't even remember the whole word of it, but silence is the way that these people are facilitated. Evil works because good men don't do anything. I think you need to do something. I am. Let me see what else President Trump. President Trump posted, hold on a second. I want to bring this before I start some videos here. I have been fully briefed on the tragedy in Minnesota. FBI quickly responded, and they are on the scene. The White House will continue to monitor this terrible situation. Please join me in praying for everyone involved. Absolutely. And there's one other bit of news in regards to this that probably not a lot of people are talking about. You see, this week, the Democrat National Committee, and I've been showing you some of the insane footage from this event, has been hosting a conclave of insanity. And in this conclave of insanity, they've been acting as cheerleaders for this craziness. Guess where it was held? Oh, yeah, Minneapolis. They were holding their conclave of insanity for the last couple days in Minneapolis, and they had to cancel today, obviously. Coincidence? Just a mere coincidence? You really think those still exist? Seriously. Are you really under the inference or belief that these things are just coincidental? I'm not buying it, and you shouldn't buy it either. It says here, thank you, SV. The shooter at the Catholic school in Minneapolis was previously a student of the school. His mother also worked there. Seems to be a copycat of the other one who shot up the Covenant School in Nashville. Almost exactly like the other one, but this one's worse. This one is worse. Barry, why is it worse? Because when you see what this person, and Ashley sent that to me as well, when you see that, when you see the meticulous nature of what this person did, it is going to chill you to the core. And I have to wait till I go on Rumble so I can show you, but when you show up tonight, be ready. Be ready. And then after you see it, there will be no turning back. You will completely understand, yeah, this is insanity. Kash Patel, who I referenced in the other tweet, posted this. The updates thus far. The FBI is investigating this as an act of domestic terrorism and hate crime targeting Catholics. So thus far, there have been 2 fatalities, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. In addition, 14 more children and 3 adults were also injured. The bad guy, woman, whatever, has been identified as that name, which they don't even let you say the name here. The FBI will continue to provide updates on our ongoing investigation as we are able. So I want to show you something else. It's in the thread that people are talking about. I'm going to have to just show you the top. I can't even get down too far because it's so heinous, the shirt she's wearing. All right, so this is the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota. If I showed you the shirt she has on right there, you would be completely appalled. We'll show it tonight on Rumble. Completely appalled. And it also goes to underscore what I've said, that these people are pure evil. No doubt. No doubt anymore. I am not going to run any commercials today. I don't know, YouTube it will, but I'm not. So just give me a second, take a break here, get a drink, and I'll be right back.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So one of the things that I will be doing once I have my new studio set up, which hopefully by the end of September, mid-September I will have, is my ability to have, you won't see it, but it's like mission control. I'm going to have like 4 or 5 monitors running at the same time on various different stations. And what that will allow me to do is if I see something that's running on one of the news stations, I can quickly pull it in. Like, let me give you an example. And I could go right to here and pull that in.
Asking us what information we had.
And so that's the kind of thing that I plan on doing at a moment's notice. Probably not a whole lot of people are doing that, but I've got feeds, I've got network, and I want to be able to just pull everything in, whenever it is. So what we're looking at right now looks like they're about to have a second press conference. I have the first press conference ready to roll, but I guess they're going to have another one very soon. So let me get on with what I have for you. But before then, obviously, I want to take some comments as I look at them getting set up for their press conference. We are at war with pure leftist evil, Barry. Yeah, but don't discount for a second that there may be some people on the right who are part of this evil as well. They've hit it well. They've hit it very well. But there's probably some in there who feel that proclivity. I'll just leave it at that. You're right, evil through and through. Were you guys even, great question, were you guys even thinking about being the other side when you were a pre-adolescent kid? I will say, probably like a lot of young kids, I was like, oh, those look cool. It's my mom's high heels. That was the extent. Now, if you put your mom's high heels on, they're going to say, I love that you want to change. No, I just wondered, how the hell you walking these things? And I found out real quick as I fell on my butt, they're showing this poor little kid. Hopefully, maybe, let's listen.
All black, and he had a ski mask on. I was down, so I didn't really look up. He shot through the stained glass windows. My friend Victor, he was laying on top of me, making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
That was the kid I was telling you about. That was the kid I saw this morning. I went, oh no. I could imagine one of my granddaughters, and I'm like, they'd have to institutionalize me. If I ever got the call from Ashley and said, something like this happened, I don't know, Robin probably beat me to North Carolina, but in any event, watch out. I'm going hunting. But in this instance, you don't even get that satisfaction. This coward decided to take himself out. Or did he? You see, you find it interesting that these people go through all this planning to do all this stuff. Diagrams, manifestos, videos, all kinds of things. And then they just happen to be found, they're done. If you haven't, if you're willing, I would go look at digging into some of the stuff from MK Ultra. Maybe pull up the movie Telethon. Maybe watch the couple of the Bourne Identity movies. Because you have to wonder, where did they get this information from that they were, so willing to do a movie about? So it looks like they're walking to the podium, which sucks because I have the first press conference already set to go, and it looks like they're about to give a second one. And so Amy Klobuchar, shameful stuff she said this morning. The mayor, shameful stuff he said this morning. There's no way out of this. These are the people who promoted the crap that we're seeing. Yeah, he wrote a letter to his family. Oh, this is gut-wrenching. Well, you've done it. You've made a hardened grown man cry. Oh, there's Tim Walz. There's the mayor of Murder Town. Governor of Murder Town. What are you going to say? You're going to say I should start my thing just so you guys can see it. I guess you'll have to watch the second one before we watch the first one. What do these people say? How are they going to come up to a podium in a microphone and look you in the eye and say, it's the weapon's fault? When are you going to begin to embrace the fact that you have promoted and encouraged, facilitated insanity? For what end? Maybe for this. Maybe this was what they wanted. I don't know. Why would you want a legion of effed up kids? All right, they're walking up to the podium, so looks like Tim Waltz is going to get the first shot of saying anything. It's Tim Waltz, Amy Klobuchar, the mayor who had to kneel down during George Floyd. All right, here we go. We're gonna take this live, as long as I can take it live. If something happens, then I won't be able to take it, but we shall see. All right, here we go.
To what he is going to tell us. He's continuing to greet city officials there who are joining him for this press conference. Tough thing to do for any elected official. You saw him there hugging the mayor a moment ago, who gave pretty passionate remarks earlier this afternoon, seemed deeply affected by everything he had heard. Let's listen to the governor.
Certainly a day and a news conference that no one wants to be at. A community behind us, Annunciation Church and School, committed to academics, service, and Catholic values, filled with the first days of school of beautiful children going to learn those values, share with their teachers and their classmates. And instead of that joy and that curiosity and that learning, they were met with evil and horror and death. And we often come to these and say, these unspeakable tragedies, or there's no words for this. There shouldn't be words for these types of incidents because they should not happen. And there's no words that are going to ease the pain of the families today. On behalf of all the people of Minnesota, our deepest sympathies. A wish that any of these words would make what you're feeling now better, but it won't. A place that's founded on community, founded on service, founded on family. I'd like to give special thank you to the mayor and the team in Minneapolis Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, Minnesota State Patrol, the BCA, so many agencies, our federal partners, and the support that we need to give them in this moment too is critical. Speaking with all the people here and grateful to our federal partners, Senator Klobuchar speaking early this morning and receiving a call from President Trump, who was with his leadership team of the Attorney General and the Vice President, expressing their deep condolences amongst the horror that happened and an offer to provide the support to the folks here in Minnesota of what's needed. So there's a lot of cameras here, and unfortunately we have been through these types of things. They will be gone at some point. All of you have to do your jobs. But what happened here today will not be gone. Minnesotans will not step away. We'll stand with this community. We'll redouble ourselves to do the best we can to understand what we can do to prevent any parent from having to receive the calls they received today, from any school dedicated to children having to respond to a situation that, as we said, is unthinkable, but that's all too common, not just in Minnesota, but across this country. It's Minnesota's day to day, and it's my strongest desire that no state, no community, no school ever experiences a day like this. So I ask the rest of the folks around the country who are watching, keep us in your thoughts and prayers, but also keep us in the thoughts for action. Keep us in the ideas that we can work together. And it's on these days like this, I think, and I hope we can hold on to it, we are unified as a community. Everybody across the country today is part of the Annunciation Parish. and they're with those families. With that, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey.
Thank you, Governor. Throughout the morning, we have seen this extraordinary Minneapolis family step up in thousands of different ways. People with strength, resilience, compassion, and love for the families that have been forever impacted by this heinous act. We want to make sure that we're doing everything possible for them right now, and I want to give a special thank you, and we are so grateful to all of the faculty and the teachers at Annunciation. The way that they acted during severe threat and danger was nothing short of heroic. This is a tragic and horrible event that should never occur, and it would have been all the more tragic and horrible had they not stepped in, at times perhaps put themselves in danger to protect others. As horrible as this has been, it could have been far worse. I'm grateful for our law enforcement partners, our police officers in the Minneapolis Police Department and other law enforcement agencies well beyond that step up, that answered the call to make sure that they were running towards danger when so many of the rest of us would have run in the other direction. Thank you. We are so appreciative of your service. To Principal DeBoer and your whole team, the ethic that you have showed, the love that you've shown, it's flat out incredible. And at the same time, look, we need to be doing more than talking. It can't just be words. There needs to be action. And when we have seen school shooting after school shooting, when we have seen churches get shot up by horrible actors, I think the impetus has to be on all of us as leaders to do a whole lot more, to recognize that we've got more guns in this country than we have people.
Oh, shut up.
And it's on all of us to recognize the truth and the reality that we can't just say that this shouldn't happen again and then allow it to happen again and again beyond that. It's on all of us. And I have heard about a whole lot of hate that's being directed at our trans community.
Oh, boy.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
Oh, boy.
We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids. Kids died today. This needs to be about them. This needs to be wrapping our arms around these families with every bit of love that we can possibly show. And I know that our Minneapolis family and well beyond, along with, again, a number of different law enforcement agencies, investigators, federal partners, state partners. Thank you, Senator Klobuchar, for being here. Been working tirelessly, and I'd like to invite him up to give some more of the details that have come up. Chief.
My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N, O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. Good afternoon, and thank you all for your patience as we continue to gather the facts in this investigation into this truly unthinkable tragedy that happened here earlier today. I want to make sure that we are providing the most accurate information possible, particularly as we speak around our victims. At this point, we know we have a total of 19 victims from this tragedy. 2 were young children, ages 8 and 10, that were sitting in the pews at Mass when they were shot and killed. They were pronounced deceased on the scene. There were another 14 children between the ages of 6 and 15 that were injured by gunfire. There were also 3 adults in their 80s that were parishioners here attending Mass that were also shot in this incident. The families of all of the children that have been affected have been notified. The coward that shot these victims took his own life in the rear of the church. That coward has been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman. No prior criminal history. As to the weapons used to perpetrate this horrific attack, there was a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. All three had been lawfully purchased by the shooter. At this stage, we believe that the shooter had acted alone. There is no indication of other suspects directly involved in carrying out this attack. Our investigators are working with other agencies in the process of executing 4 search warrants. One is for the church itself, where this crime occurred. The other 3 are residences nearby in the metro that are related to this shooter. Additional firearms are being recovered from those 3 residential locations as we speak. We are also aware of a manifesto that the shooter had timed to be released on YouTube. This manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings. That content has since been taken down with the assistance of the FBI, and it now remains under active review by our investigators.
So that's what you think.
We know this community is reeling and is in pain. I want to ensure everyone in our community, this parish, all of the families affected, and all of our residents, that all of law enforcement collectively, local law enforcement, our county, our state, and all of our federal law enforcement partners have been here, and we are all working tirelessly to uncover the full scope of what happened, to try and identify a motive why it happened, and whether there are any other further details. We will continue to share updates as the investigation progresses, and we remain committed to being as transparent as possible while protecting the integrity of this investigation. In a moment, I will take some questions that I am able to answer, but first I want to bring up the principal of Annunciation School, Matt Du Bois, as well as, after him, the Archbishop, our Archbishop Bernard Hebda. So, Principal.
Good afternoon, everyone. To any of our students and families and staff watching right now, I love you. You're so brave, and I'm so sorry this happened to us today. Within seconds of this situation beginning, our teachers were heroes. Children were ducked down. Adults were protecting children. Older children were protecting younger children. And as we heard earlier, it could have been significantly worse without their heroic action. This is a nightmare, but we call our staff the Dream Team. And we will recover from this. We will rebuild from this. When we planned for this school year, we intentionally chose a theme from the prophet Jeremiah chapter 29, a future filled with hope. There's nothing about today that can fill us with hope. We, as a community, have a responsibility to make sure that no child, no parent, no teacher ever has to experience what we've experienced today, ever again. I need everybody to commit those words to your speech patterns, never again. We lost 2 angels today. And please continue to pray for those still receiving care. We can't change the past, but we can do something about the future. There's an African proverb that says, when you pray, move your feet. So again, we lost 2 angels today. And please continue to pray for those still receiving care.
I changed feet.
We can't change the past, but we can do something about the future. There's an African proverb that says, when you pray, move your feet. So I beg you, I ask you to please pray, but don't stop with your words. Let's make a difference and support this community, these children, these families, these teachers. Never again can we let this happen. I love you, Annunciation family. We're with you, and we will be stronger when this is done. Archbishop Hebda will be coming next.
Thank you, Principal DeVore. I'm so grateful that Mayor Fry and the chief both mentioned how valiant you and your staff were. I'm so grateful to the pastor here at Annunciation, Father Dennis Zarin, for the deacon, Deacon Kevin Keneally, also were heroic in this time. But how sad it is, for sure, not only for the families who are directly involved, but indeed for families everywhere who feel the threat that comes from an event, a tragedy like today's. I would never want to correct a principal, but Principal DeBoer said it wasn't so clear where would be the source of hope. And brothers and sisters, we have to be men and women of hope. Already today, I've been receiving messages from all over our country promising prayers. And I think it's the prayers of the feet as well, Principal. That is, for me, is a source of hope, just as we see families stepping forward to help those who have been impacted by this terrible tragedy. Very grateful that Principal DeBoer spoke about prayer. Certainly that the bell in a Catholic church is always a call to prayer. And so it's a reminder for us, for sure, to be praying. And we have to recognize that it's through prayer and through that prayer of the feet, through that action, that we can indeed make a difference. That has to be the source of our hope. I was particularly pleased today to receive a message from Pope Leo. If you'd bear with me, I'd like to share that with you. It comes directly from Cardinal Pietro Parolin, who's the Secretary of State, and it reads like this. His Holiness Pope Leo XIV was profoundly saddened to learn of the loss of life and injuries following the shooting that took place at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. And he sends his heartfelt condolences and the assurance of spiritual closeness to all those affected by this terrible tragedy, especially the families now grieving the loss of a child, while commending the souls of the deceased children to the love of Almighty God. His Holiness prays for the wounded as well as the first responders, medical personnel, and clergy who are caring for them and their loved ones. At this extremely difficult time, the Holy Father imparts to the Annunciation Catholic school community, the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis, and the people of the greater Twin Cities metropolitan area, his apostolic blessing as a pledge of peace, fortitude, and consolation in the Lord Jesus. My brothers and sisters, that gives me some hope. We know that the Holy Father, Pope Leo, did his hospital training right here in Minneapolis. So he knows our community, and he's been reminding anybody visiting from Minnesota that he spent some time here. We're very grateful for his blessing. But I, like those who have spoken before, ask that you would continue to look for those ways of supporting those who have been impacted today, not only with your prayers, but also with your action. Thank you. And Chief, I now turn this back to you for your questions.
Thank you, Archbishop. As I mentioned, obviously the investigation continues in its preliminary stages. I will take some questions now, and additionally, we will let you know when we can provide some updated information.
How are the injured students doing? What are their conditions?
The question from Matt was, how are the injured students doing? I believe all of them have their parents with them now, and they are all expected to survive. All of the remaining victims are expected to survive. There is a range of injuries, however.
Chief, you said the weapons were acquired legally. Do we know when
Yes.
and where they were acquired?
I can tell you they were purchased recently. Okay. So the question was on a possible motive and a relationship to the church or to the school. I have no information to share on a motive other than saying again that there was some sort of manifesto that was timed to come out on YouTube. It's been taken down, and our investigators are going through that to try and develop a motive from that. Additionally, there are these 3 search warrants happening in residential locations, and we may very well, find more information or writings that could give some sense to that, but we don't have that now. And I cannot confirm a relationship between the suspect or his family and this church at this time, but that's obviously something we're looking very closely at. What was by the suspect? I'm sorry. Okay. Yep. So the question was about the manifesto. We do believe it was by the suspect, yes.
And we understand that we've seen some documents about a name change that somebody with the same name as the suspect has filed for a few years ago.
Yep.
Do you believe this to be the same person, that Robin Westman was in fact born with a different name at this point? And can you speak a little bit more about the identity?
Yep. So the question was about the suspect, and he had a name change at some point in the past. I cannot confirm that, other than confirming the identity, the name that I gave you, the age. That is the suspect. That's the person that we believe has caused this.
Chief, you mentioned these videos posted on YouTube, seemingly scheduled to be posted right after the shooting. Is there anything that the suspect posted days prior, months prior, that could shed any light on your mindset?
Yep. So the question was, we mentioned that the YouTube videos were scheduled to be posted. Is there anything else in social media that may shed some light into this? We do not have information on that at this time that I'm able to share. However, our investigators and our law enforcement partners are definitely looking at that.
How many children and parishioners were in the church when this happened?
So the question was how many children and parishioners were in the church when this happened. This was towards the beginning of Mass, so some of the children were already filed into the church and were seated. Others were coming in. I've heard estimates, but we will release a more definitive number.
Chief, Minneapolis police officers have had a couple of days. I know we're talking about the children
Yep.
in this incident, but there were several shootings yesterday.
Yep.
How is the resourcing going for you? Are you getting help from the place?
Yep. So Sue's question was resources for Minneapolis police due to the other challenges we've had the last 24 hours. Obviously, this has been the most difficult. The dozens of officers that responded to this scene, many of them are deeply traumatized by what they saw, as are obviously all of the children, all of the staff members, Father Dennis, everyone who was at Mass this morning. So obviously that has been our number one priority, is to care for the health and wellness of the officers that responded here. Additionally, obviously, we have responded to other challenging situations and other acts of violence. I can say, in regard to the shooting that happened outside of the high school yesterday, we have arrested 2 people for assisting in that shooting. We have not gotten the shooter yet, but we believe we have 2 people under arrest that were present with the shooter when that happened, and we're making significant progress. There was an additional arrest at a homicide last night that happened on the 2700 block of 3rd Avenue South. That person has not been booked specifically for being responsible for that murder, but we believe that is the person who caused that. So, no, unfortunately not. Yep.
A lot of the politicians here, the principal and others, have said that this can never happen again. I'm just wondering if you have a suggestion for where we start to make sure it doesn't ever happen again.
Yeah, so the question was, where do we start to make sure this doesn't happen again? I don't have an answer for that at this time.
You understand from the federals that there is an idea that this might be investigated, maybe it already is, I'm not sure my information, as a hate crime against Catholics. I'm asking you, perhaps, Archbishop, is this a line of investigation that you have open to comment on that?
So the question is this an investigation into a hate crime against Catholics? We don't have a motive at this time. Obviously, we're open to any possibilities at all, but we don't have a motive or anything to suggest that.
Obviously, he hadn't watched the damn video. I'll give you a motive. Wow, what horse crap.
Yeah.
Just a week out from, or a few days before the start of school.
Yeah. So the question is the concern for other churches, other schools around the metro. Unfortunately, this is something that our community has been dealing with for some time. The threat of active shooters, the threat of hate crimes at houses of worship, unfortunately, is not something new here. And of course, our precinct inspectors, our crime prevention specialists are available to work with both houses of worship, churches, and schools that do reach out to assist in any additional security measures or advice that we can offer them.
About that to follow up, are you aware if this is the first time that actually a Catholic mass has been targeted and there have been victims inside a Catholic church during mass? In the Twin Cities, not
in the Twin Cities?
I'm unaware of any other.
Yeah, from the the question was, is this the first time that there's been attack of Catholics at mass in the Twin Cities area? The Archbishop is unaware of any other attack. The question was, is it being investigated by the FBI? Well, the FBI is here with us and has been a part of this entire investigation, as well as the ATF, other law enforcement. It's being led right now by the Minneapolis Police Department, and we are looking at, obviously, any possibilities from wherever the evidence will lead us from what we recover. Absolutely.
Thank you all again so much for your time today, for your support. Thank you.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, from the governor of Minnesota, the mayor.
Man. This is pretty bad. So, just to let you know, you can see where they're going with this. It wasn't the crazy guy who puts on dresses. No, couldn't be that at all. You guys are making stuff up. It's bad. You shouldn't be talking about that. That's not what you should be discussing at this point. What you should be focused on is that we need to eliminate pew-pews. If we had no pew-pews, then none of this stuff could happen. That's what's really wrong. If you have the chance, or if you decide to, tune into the media today, they're already in full preservation mode. Don't look here. Don't see the parallels. Here's what you need to be focused on. You need to be completely focused on. Hold on. Let me bring it to you so you guys can see it. 1 second here. This is what you need to be focused on.
So we're still trying to get a better handle on. We're still going through the videos and going through the writings. So just to describe it to folks, they're YouTube videos where there's a number of either journals or they look like journals where there's a number of writings, not all of them in the English language. There's some sort of Eastern European language that's used. Some of it is in English. And this individual's writing about a whole host of things. Won't get into all the particular details as we stated last hour.
You won't get into all the particular details. Well, guess what? We're gonna. I understand they worked hard to turn it off, but we got it. I got it. I downloaded it. It's sitting on my hard drive. And after you see it, let me put it this way. I'm not gonna cloud your judgment. I'm gonna let you see it for yourself. Now, having seen what you just saw that press conference where he's like, we can't find any motive yet. We're still going through it. And those of us who have seen it are like, the motive's really effing clear. He left no doubt, or she, whatever, they left no doubt about their motive. What you are going to see is absolute proof of their motive. But why are they afraid to tell us what the motive was? Why are they backing off from even discussing what the motive is? See, that's very interesting. Why would you not want to tell people what the motive is? Why are you not telling people, even MSNBC, oh, there's other details we don't want to discuss? Why? Why do you not want to discuss the other details? Why are you lying to the American public? The reason why I showed you that is because when I show you tonight what the details really are, you're going to go back to like 4:15 right now and go, what do you mean there wasn't any evidence? What do you mean just some other details? See, this is how they keep their people like the mushroom. They keep their people cold in covered with BS. There's a whole lot of details. You remember when the unfortunate time when we dropped the bomb and the guy wrote on the bomb, I think it was Hiroshima or Nagasaki, what he wrote on the bomb? Well, this guy left nothing to chance because he took a Sharpie and he wrote on his bullets. The entire cartridge had messages on them. Cartridge after cartridge after cartridge had messages on them. You won't find it. You'll find it on X if you look around. But I got the whole thing so we can show it to you. And hopefully Rumble doesn't get attacked. But so, once you see it, you're all right. So we know why he did it. And then the next question after you know why, then you'll have to ask, why is the media now lying to you? And once you make that tie, once you connect that and say, wait a second, they know these videos are out there. They're counting on the fact that people won't see them. The police chief, winkety wink, because I think he's pissed off at what the mayor said, the police chief just said, they're real. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, it's AI. Nope, they are real. And the other thing that he probably didn't realize when he said it was the mayor, with his soliloquy about protecting the cosplay people, he confirmed that he was a cosplay participant. So the two things that we know are true right now, actually three things, he was a cosplay participant. He actually did make the manifestos and the videos that you don't want anybody to see now. And unfortunately, there are 2 people deceased. That's what we know for sure. All the other stuff is purely conjecture. Look over here, not over here. Oh, I can't believe he just said that. Here, let me play that again, because that is a lot of people don't realize sometimes, and they say, do you have like real evidence of gaslighting? Can you ever show people specifically an instance where people are completely gaslighting the public? Well, here you go.
That we're still trying to get a better handle on. We're still going through the videos and going through the writings. So just to describe it to folks, they're YouTube videos where there's a number of either journals or they look like journals where there's a number of writings, not all of them in the English language. There's some sort of Eastern European language that's used. Some of it is in English. And this individual is writing about a whole host of things. Won't get into all the particular details. As we stated last hour, we're not here to do the bidding of this individual so that we can basically put out the information they were hoping to gain out of this shooting.
Yeah, you don't want to put out the information for people to see what the hell happened. He knows. It's pretty self-explanatory. But watch the stories. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful what they say. Be careful what they're really trying to get you to understand when it's all BS. President Trump, as I told you, has filed a proclamation in honor of the deceased that has gone up, honoring the victims by putting the flag at half-mast. I also want to show you another video. I told you I couldn't show it to you, but I'm going to show it to you partly, and because it's news. When you see the pictures of the lieutenant governor's shirt, don't let anybody tell you that's AI. Because now I have the actual video where she wore the shirt. So I want to show this to you. It says 2 years ago, Governor Tim Walz signs a bill establishing Minnesota as a a refugee state. I didn't know you had to escape other areas, and now they have the gall to blame Republicans for this. So, but what I'm going to go down here is I just want you to see the shirt that she's wearing. So nobody, when I show it to you tonight, see, I can't show it to you here. It is the most, not the most, but it is an extremely evil shirt that she's wearing. I'm sure if you looked around, you could probably see it on X, but now you know it was real. Now you know it was real. Man, this stuff is, it wouldn't be so bad as if they weren't just honest. If they weren't just going to come out and say, you know what? Yeah, this guy had some issues. He had some problems. What did SB send me here? I don't know if I can even show you this thing. I guess this is something Grok put up. Let me see if I can. Nope, can't put that up. I can put it up tonight, though, SV. Let's see, the Secretary Christy Nome. All right, so you can't do any censoring on this. This is the actual government. We have confirmation that the person at Annunciation Catholic School who did the deed was a 22-year-old man claiming to be, you guessed it, this deranged monster targeted our most vulnerable young children praying in their first morning mass of the school year. This deeply sick person scrawled the words, "Uh-oh, you're about to hear some motive." The motive that MSNBC said, well, we can't really figure it out right now. We've looked at some of these videos, and it's hard to tell what he was saying. Oh, Christy Nome's she's gonna dump it on you. I was gonna wait till tonight, but Christy gonna tell you what the motive was right here. You ready? The deeply sick dude-ass scrawled the words, "For the children," on the cartridge. "Where is your God?" on the cartridge. That too, on the cartridge magazine. The level of violence is unthinkable. Our deepest prayers are with the children, parents, families, educators, and Christians everywhere. We mourn with them, we pray for healing, and we will never forget them. Christy spilled the beans. Christy, on her official account, spilled the beans. So now, when I show it to you tonight, and hold on, let me just put that back out there. They probably going to get mad that I'm even showing you what Christy said. If someone were to take the time in a Sharpie and put on the magazine or cartridge, "For the children," meaning everything in this cartridge here, all the metal jackets that are in here, they're for the children. And the other one's here, "Where's your God now?" And then that to Donald Trump. What do you think the motive was? And why did MSNBC stop short? No, it's got some weird stuff on it. We can't really tell. And I love that Christy came out and said, "Well, here's what it is. We know. We've seen it. They're lying to you. Never trust them again." Ashley just sent me something else. I can't show this. They said it looked like European writing. I don't think it's European writing. I think what you're going to see this writing being is something from another place. But, I can't show it to you. That's how bad it is. But it's some sort of acrylic, cipherish writing, and then it's got what the words are next to it. I don't know what language that is. Maybe some people can say what language it is, if it's even a language. Somebody says it. Okay, Grok. Somebody asked Grok to translate it, and Grok says it is Cyrillic. Best effort translation of this note. I can show you this. Okay, so here's a best effort translation of the handwritten note. Interpreting Cyrillic as phonetic English where possible. It's messy and mixed. And I can't show, well, I kind of did. I can't show you what it actually says. But I will tonight. Thank you, Ashley, for that. Oof. Ooh. You know what's scary? What's scary about it is because it just chilled me. And as I look down here, it just shocked me because this was the last line. And "Love Robin, I'm sorry." And I'm like, whoa, that hit a little bit too hard right there. It's nest and dormant time, people. We can't play this game. We cannot deal with this stuff anymore. Not at all. I mean, this is too much. Too much. SB says they know it, but they will never accept it. There will be more chaos, and you know what? Rushing, I'm referring to another posted shooter put in his diary. Okay, so there's even more. Ashley just sent me, they're pretending like they don't know his real name. So when you see this pretend game going on, when you see that they're trying to do anything to diminish what reality is, then you realize you're in the bubble. You are now in that matrix. You're there. You turn on the channels and you got Trey Gowdy talking crap on Fox. You got MSNBC saying crazy stuff. What's this? You got CNN all saying crazy stuff, and it's like, wait a second, we can actually see it. Just imagine, if you will, that many of us didn't quickly download these videos and pray over our computers because that's some crazy stuff. Imagine if we didn't have the actual videos. If Kristi Noem didn't have it to verify it. The cop said, yeah, it's real. Imagine if we didn't have that. Then you would be stuck and you'd be wondering, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's true? Hey, what's not true? It's time to tell everybody, hey, nope, there's no more tinfoil hats. Shit's on. Game is on. There are too many people living in the Matrix right now. And as I was watching this stuff on CNN, and I'm like, wait a second. I felt like I was Neo. I felt like I was watching people trying to... You ever see the movie Gaslighting? You know where the term comes from? Robin showed it to me one time because she loves her movies on TCM and these old movies. And it's an old movie about this guy that was trying to steal the jewels from this woman who is rich. And his idea to steal the jewels was to make her go crazy. Let her think she was seeing things or hearing things. And he went through, I mean, it's a great movie. It is, what she call it? I think it's film noir, whatever you call that. And it's a great movie. No violence whatsoever. It is a complete mind F. And you're watching this, and you're watching the deepness that he goes through to make her think she's crazy so she can tell him where the jewels are. And he's hooked up stuff in the attic, so it sounds like there's people walking around in the ceiling. And then she's like, I hear something. He's like, I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. There's nothing here. No, you're fine. Okay. And then there's tapping in the walls and all kinds of things going past her. Hey, man, I'm going crazy. Oh, no, you didn't see anything. I didn't see anything at all. And then finally she wakes up and feels like, hey, you've been screwing me. You've been messing with me. Gaslighting isn't fake. Gaslighting is an actual strategy. And too many people are walking around right now not realizing they're being gaslit. They are absolutely being gaslit. You might as well be one of the people who say, you know what, I just want to keep here in my safe little world and wake up as if nothing happens. And you thought we were crazy for taking the red pill. You thought we were nuts. And you just saw it for yourself. See, there's very, very few chances for you to actually view gaslighting in reality. Because it happens fast, it's quick, and you don't even know it, and it's gone. You just saw it. Hey, there's something on here. We're not really sure what it is. We're not even going to tell you the details. Oh yeah, it was violence with a poo-poo. That's what it was. Complete gaslighting. And if you didn't know for sure, you would think, okay, yeah, that's all it was. That's what a lot of people are doing right now. They're walking through life going, oh, it was just some, yeah. And even the cop, think about how the people you can't trust, even the cop says, we haven't ascertained a motive as of yet. Maybe he's being told, don't tell it. Don't say it. Whatever you do, don't say it. Wow. Gaslighting is real. Yeah. And it's devious. It is very devious. It's so devious that most people don't know they're in it. See, that's the big trick. Make you believe that that what they're doing is normal, which is what they've tried to do all along, but too many of us are like, that's a dude, man. Two movies, yeah, with Ingrid Bergman. It was on the second one. The first one was a year early. Ingrid Bergman. Yep, that's who it was. Woke cops are the worst. Now, what is he? Was he a woke cop or was he a controlled cop? That's the only two options at this point. He's either woke or he's being controlled. I may give him the benefit of the doubt and say that dude is controlled. He's being run. They're telling him what to do. Where was the father? Good point. Nobody mentioned that. Exactly. Good point. The FCC needs to pull the licenses of any and all who divide this nation. Yeah, I was wondering. That's a question we'll ask Brendan Carr when he comes on. I'll save that clip. I'll say, Brendan, we all saw it. Well, many of us. And I was wondering if they're inferring that if you show it anywhere, they're going to come after you. Because the FBI said, we took it down here. Okay, did you think that stopped everybody else? It's all over X. I think he's controlled as well, somebody said. Yep, so sad. I think controlled. Yep, people are saying controlled. Hand tied. He needs to come out. Yeah, Barry, the police officer was almost in tears several times. He was indeed. You can tell he was told what to say. So, it's funny. Ashley even said, yeah, controlled. You could see he was holding back. So I'm going to go back to the future here. And can you quiet down over there? Hold on. I had to close up my laptop. So I want to show you the first part of all this. And now that you've seen the second part, see if you notice the difference. Because the difference is quite compelling in terms of how this guy was at the beginning. So let's listen in.
Minnesota ranks the highest per capita for being a safe haven for transgender individuals in Minnesota. And can I just say, we can talk about economic growth and feeding children and growing the economy and creating jobs simultaneously with talking about everybody's human rights matters, and we shouldn't be demonizing them. You can do both.
And I want all of you just to know exactly where we are as far as our neighbors go. Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for undocumented immigrants, for our trans community. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, Minneapolis is a place where you should be proud to call home.
So this is this morning, and I play those two clips without comment, but you understand, right? Winkety wink. You understand what's going on here. Those were previous speeches that they underscored this afternoon. They had nothing to do with the event today, but they were letting you know this is what Minnesota is all about. Here in Minnesota, this is what we do. Now what you gonna say? So this is the press conference of the sheriff earlier, or chief of police, whatever.
There are no words that can capture the horror and the evil of this unspeakable act. Children are dead. There are families that have a deceased child. You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation. We are a Minneapolis family. But to everybody out there, do not think of these as just somebody else's kids. Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have, every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country. I'm so deeply saddened, and I'm so sorry to the families that I know are suffering right now. My ask is to everyone, stand by them. Love them. These families have forever been changed, and we've all been changed with them. We need to do everything possible to support them through this time. We have a family resource center that has been set up. I'm grateful for all of the law enforcement agencies from a number of different jurisdictions, all the different departmental support that we've received. They're going to be working tirelessly. There's also a family resource center that is being set up as we speak to make sure that we're there for everybody. Again, to the families that are suffering, to those that have experienced loss, I'm so deeply sorry. We're going to be with you every step of the way. We love you. This kind of act of evil should never happen, and it happens far too often. The chief will provide additional details.
That was this morning, right after it happened. What occurred? What happened in between this morning and the live one you just saw? It was a completely different person. This is why I kept it, and I wanted to show it to you, because I'm like, he didn't mention anything about the other stuff. He didn't mention anything about, there being a message. All he wanted to talk about, the way he should have talked, was just to console the families and move on. He didn't talk about gun control. So what happened in between these two press conferences? Did somebody say, hey man, you need to get on the Democrat payroll here, do what you're supposed to do, talk about control and talk about, the cosplay, and make those the most priority things that you talk about? And then also what we need you to do is get off this prayer stuff, okay? Earlier you said, please pray. And then this afternoon you said, oh, yeah, prayers aren't working. Look, I was like, what? It was like a completely different person. Somebody, somewhere, got to him and said, that wasn't what we want to hear, bro. We didn't put you in position as mayor to be that way. We need you to be this way. The matrix hadn't worked yet. So he got off this podium, pissed off, ready to help the families, and they came out a little while ago, as you saw, with a completely different message. Oh, we're tired of praying. Ooh, hey, really? Tired of praying? And I'm sick of you people trying to go after my community of you-know-whats. Oh, okay, I've seen it all over social media. Yeah, why were you on social media? Notice, I would have had to ask that question. Excuse me, sir. Yeah, you just had somebody shoot up a church, and you're telling me what you did in between press conferences was, let me see how people are responding. You weren't busy? There wasn't no investigation going on, no phone calls you had to take. You went to Twitter or whatever and like, hey man, people are talking bad about us. Did anybody else pick up on that? Let me first say, I've been looking on X or whatever profiles, and people are talking very negative about the people we hold dear. The altar at which we kneel, people were talking bad about it. I got to stop that right now. No, it's about the kids. It's about the school. How did that first come out of your mouth? You should lose the election just for that. There should be no debate. Whoever you're running against, even the Somalian guy, you should lose. Your first instinct was to protect the unprotectable. You decided you wanted to defend that. And it was completely different than the attitude earlier. So let's see how the chief of police has changed. I don't think he changed much, but...
My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N, O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. Earlier today, just before 8:30 a.m., our city experienced an unthinkable tragedy. Minneapolis police officers responded to a report of a shooting at a mass that was happening at the Annunciation Roman Catholic Church on the block behind me. This worship service was marking the first week of school for children that are attending the Annunciation Catholic School. During the Mass, a gunman approached on the outside on the side of the building and began firing a rifle through the church windows towards the children sitting in the pews at the Mass. Shooting through the windows, he struck children and worshipers that were inside the building. The shooter was armed with a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. This was a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping. The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible. Police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building, while other first responders came and EMS responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews. Their parents have been notified. 17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church. Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover, and for our entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack. We will stand together to protect our children, our schools, and our houses of worship. This deliberate act of violence is just a sign of cruelty that is beyond comprehension. Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this tragedy. As we begin the difficult path of healing, I want the community to know this, that even in the face of such evil, the Minneapolis Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners stand with our community. We stand with these families and with this parish. We will continue to be here for you. With that, the investigation is obviously in its preliminary stages, and I will attempt to take some questions to provide further information.
Chief, what can you tell us about the suspect in this case? How old was he? Any kind of motivation? Any notes or any other information that might have left behind?
So we were looking, the question was, what can be said about the shooter? We believe it is one suspect, a sole shooter. We believe he is deceased. He is in his early 20s, does not have an extensive known criminal history, and we are looking through information left behind to try and determine some type of motive. Yeah.
How many kids at the school?
How many children? There were. I don't have an exact. The question was how many children at the school. There were dozens of children inside the mass at the time. I don't have an exact count. The children have been relocated into the school, which is where their families are reunifying with them. Was the shooter a student, former student? Was he a former employee? The question was, do we know if the shooter was a former school employee or a former student? We don't have that information. Did you leave anything behind other than the weapon? There's a vehicle. The question was anything left behind? There's a vehicle that we believe that the suspect used that is being searched, and we will be conducting other searches related to this. Inside the parking lot here.
There was some neighbors who said that the door to the church had been barricaded.
Yep.
Is that correct?
So the question was, neighbors had said that the door to the church had been barricaded. The shooter approached on one side of the church building, and on that side, at least two doors, it appears there had been like a 2x4 placed. So not all of the doors around the building, but on the side where the shooter did fire.
And on the outside?
On the outside, yes.
Shootings related.
The question was there any explosives? There were reports of that. There were no explosives or improvised devices that we found. I do believe there was one, I guess you would call it a smoke bomb, like not an explosive, but a sort of a firework that would release smoke.
And which side of the building? North, south?
The side that is closest to us, here, on this side, yeah.
Was this incident related? Also at these nearby homes?
I don't have specific information on that I can release.
Gunshot wound, the suspect?
Yeah, the question was, is he dead from a gunshot wound? The answer is yes. We believe he took his own life in the parking lot.
Was this outside or both inside that he was shooting?
The question was he shooting outside and inside? He was absolutely shooting outside of the building, on the side of the church, inside through the windows. It appears he may have gone inside, but I don't believe we've located any casings inside the building. So I'm not certain if he fired also while inside. It appears, if not all, most of the shooting happened outside the building.
Shooting related to any other shootings that happened in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, Taylor's asking, is this related to any of the other shootings? This does not appear to be related to any other shooting in the city.
How many rounds were fired?
The question was how many rounds? I would say it's in the dozens. We don't have an exact count. There's a sidewalk on the outside as well as a grassy area. So obviously we are going through and taking our time to process the scene.
Was he firing just one weapon, like the rifle? Or?
The question was he firing one weapon? We believe he had fired all three. He had a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. Were the weapons, was he lawfully carrying the weapons? I don't have that information. And I don't have any information on any significant criminal history either.
Was he dressed at all in any tactical type of gear or anything?
It appeared he had some black clothing on, his cargo type pants. I guess you could interpret that as, however you like.
Right, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for...
You could take that however you like. That's the information you have for us, and take it however we like to take it. That's kind of weird. But you could see even his demeanor was a little bit different. Maybe he didn't have all the information at that point. But they were very cautious. And notice that was 12 minutes. And the word TRANS didn't come up in the entirety of the 12-minute cut. Not a word about it. Nothing about the motive, nothing about the video. They saw it because we saw it. By the time that press conference was going on, I had already seen the video. Further proof you're being gaslit. They knew right then when they were talking to the reporters. But they thought, in conjunction with the different social media companies, that they had taken it down before it got too far. Understand, as soon as something happens, there are all kinds of people scrubbing social media to try and find out. By the time he walked out to that podium, we already had the picture, we had the videos, we got his signature on documents. Certain things you can't show here because they're like, for their privacy. He's a dead dude, but you still got privacy, huh? We knew his mom worked at the school. We knew that his mom helped him, put the cosplay together. Boy. All right. And so this is at the hospital.
This time to mobilize all of our resources and prepare our teams. We are a level 1 trauma center, and we prepare and we train for this. Having said that these incidents are never easy. We've had 2 in the last 24 hours that have occurred, these mass casualty incidents. The one today, we received a total of 11 patients from this incident. 2 of them were adult patients, 9 pediatric patients. 4 of them required the operating room. And up to this point in time, there have been no fatalities related to any of those patients that were brought to our organization. I want to take a moment to tell you how proud I am to work for this organization and the teams that were involved, the resources, again, that were mobilized, our surgical colleagues, our medical medicine colleagues, our amazing nursing staff, our psychologists that help process these events for us, environmental services, all those involved. Hennepin EMS brought in all the critical patients from that scene to our organization, and we were very lucky to have 2 emergency medicine, emergency medical services directors that were on scene and able to provide us with really important information that, again, helped us to prepare for this event. So I don't have any individual or specific information about the patients at this time for you, so that's all I can share. Thank you for being here. Any questions?
You said they were in critical condition?
7 were brought in as critical patients, and at this time, I don't know the updates on what the conditions are of many of them. 4 of them required the operating room, as I said.
That there was a baby?
There were, again, 9 of the 11 patients were pediatric ages. Can't remember the exact name, the exact ages. I believe it's 6 all the way up to 14. That's the range.
About what types of teams you had working this morning?
So, a sheriff buddy of mine who I've known for 20-something years texted me today, and I want to read to you what he said, or paraphrase it. He says, I'm not sure you understand what my current assignment is. He's actually what's called what do they call them? School resource officer. He's a police officer. At his position, he's assigned to a specific high school, which I will not tell you. It says, I'm currently assigned as a school resource officer, so basically safety is what I've been involved in on college, high school campuses since 2017. Currently in the school he is working at, there are 3,300 students. He goes, I can't speak for the rest of the country, but down here, you notice after what happened at the big one in Parkland, right down the road, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting, they changed everything down here. And I was wondering why other cities didn't do what was done here. After it happened, it's like, hey, you know how they always say we got to make sure it doesn't happen again? Well, this is how you make sure it doesn't happen again. And so you haven't heard it happening in Florida because of what I'm going to show you. He goes, there are 2 officers at his school and 1 for all others unless they pass a threshold of students. So in case you guys aren't aware, down here in Florida, we passed something called the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Act. And this was after the horrible Parkland shooting, and I believe the deputy who hid while these kids were getting taken out, he got fired, and they've changed, and now they've got actual guys who, not just fat old guys who are trying to retire, but active duty police officers, or, and depending on where you are, sheriff office. So I want you to see what we're doing here. We have what's called the Guardian Program. It allows for the creation of the Coach Aaron Feist Guardian Program, which permits trained school staff who are not full-time teachers to carry firearms on campus. So, you know, the teachers union, they all bitched about, oh, we don't want guns in the school, but the coaches and other people in school are walking around packing. Bad guys know this. Bad guys know that if we go there, there's other people walking around with poo-poos themselves. In addition, the school resource officers are mandated to be law enforcement officers in every Florida school. So we got cops at every school. Armed cops at every school. They have threat assessment teams. Teams are required each school to establish a threat assessment team to evaluate students who make threats. Physical security provided funding for physical security upgrades in the schools and established the Office of Safe Schools to provide guidance on best practices, door locks, all these kind of things. Emergency preparedness required schools to adopt active assailant response plans and conduct drills. This, to me, is the most important part. This is, and especially with what we see going on. They have increased funding for mental health services in the school, awareness training, mandated training for all school personnel on student mental health awareness and intervention. Student reporting allowed for the reporting of prior referrals to mental health services during school registration. You see, the one big problem with that is that schools, and I bet you many of them, depending on where you're from, they haven't alerted people to the fact of, hey, these people are going through the change of, young life here, and that might be a threat. Because we don't want to hurt their feelings or anything, so we can't say that. Now, that has to be thought of. Hey, you're going to do what? You're going to flip this... You're going to change things and chop, or take some sort of drugs to alter who you are, and then you can't take it because people aren't accepting you, and then all of a sudden, you're buying pew-pews? See, now, you can already see where this is going. They're going to say, how did he get it? He's 22 years old. He puts his ID down, and he has no background. The cop even said it. Nope, he had no criminal background. What would prevent him? Well, he showed up looking, he was wearing a skirt. If you show up to buy a pew-pew and you're drunk, they're like, hey, no. If you show up and you're like talking to people up in the air, no, I can't help you. But you show up wearing a dress, that's okay. No, it's not okay. Until we realize and begin calling a spade, which they're never going to allow you to do. See, that's where the blue states get the hell out. If you don't want to recognize mental illness, you can't help mental illness. If you can't call it what it is, but rather instead of calling it what it is, using everything in your power to embrace it, you are actually putting people in danger. They keep saying, here it's happened again. Why does it keep happening? You really want to know the answer? Do you really want to know the answer? It's not this inanimate object that just jumps off the desk or out of the closet. No, it's the cuckoos you got that you're applauding. And you're allowing these people around kids. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. In Minnesota, they taught a class on how children should escape in case of it, which all it did was give a roadmap to where they were. Exactly. They're not your children, so it's okay to grab a cup of tea. Man, it's crazy. Men with mental illness should not be able to purchase. Period. Period. There has to be a declaration that says, you know what, if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do whatever you need to do and get rid of the twig and berries. But if you do that, we're going to have to really look at you. We're really going to have you sit down with somebody first. Democrats are never going to go along with that. It's easier to blame the inanimate object. And that's where the problem is going to be. They never address the issue. It's funny, even when you saw it with Kamala Harris, what's her job? Well, she's not really a border czar. She's going to address the root issue, the root problem. Well, the root problem's pretty easy. I think anybody could do that. We're letting people through. What's the root problem of the last couple of these people who have done stupid stuff like this? This ain't Jeopardy. You can get the answer very quickly. But they'll never address it. They will not, and they will go to the Supreme Court. They will lay down and fight and protest just so that never stops. For this percentage of the entire country, I say the states that you live in that have not fallen to this disease, this it's nastiness. It's this contagion that they're allowing to grow and festering and promoting more. We got to stop it. We got to stop it. There was a question here. How do you post all of that online and no one said a word? I mean, so somebody has seen it. How do you put, exactly. I have to be careful with the words because I'll get reported or something will get out there. But this guy's posting all kinds of magazines with stuff on it. Wait till you see this video. You're going to ask the same question Melissa did. How in the hell was that okay? How was that not immediately taken down? That tells you where the evil is. The media is messing with you very wise. Something happening? Things are happening? I don't know. That's a good point. Somebody says they took his testosterone away and filled him up with estrogen. Yeah, God didn't intend that. It's like putting diesel fuel in your gas car. It doesn't really run that well, does it? I made that mistake myself. I'm pumping gas. No, you're not pumping gas, idiot. You're putting diesel into your gas car. Oh, boy. Ever do that? Doesn't work right. Things just don't. That's what's happening. Hey, we're taking your testosterone and we're going to give you some estrogen and some other pills. Make it work for you. We're going to go full on Mengele Frankensteinian approach here. We're going to make you something you're not. See? And you don't expect that's. You're messing with someone's core. Oh, man. They get their weapons. No, he actually bought his. That was easy. What? Why can't I see the chief's full comments but still see how many times he used the Democrat word of the day, cruel? Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you're saying. YouTube is messing with you. Sugar in the tank, well, BLS is right. Sugar in the tank doesn't work either. All right, so let me continue so I don't stay here all day because I got to come back for the night show. But I do want to show you this. This is what I was going to lead with before this stuff happened. This whole thing in Chicago is beginning to blow up. It is blowing up. Watch this.
Deaths, and there were 27 people that were injured. Look at that. This big wall, long wall, all the ones in yellow with the yellow dots, they ended up surviving. The red ones are people who actually died. But the first one at 7 o'clock on Friday night, that was a 33-year-old woman who was just driving, and she was shot in the eye.
Okay. So this is Fox and Friends this morning, and that's Ainsley talking. And what's really weird is this chart that she's showing you is just the past weekend in Chicago. Not like it's a year-long chart, not that it's a month-long, just this past weekend. Brandon Johnson keeps telling everybody everything's under control. We got this.
She's in serious condition. Then there were two that were right at that same evening. There were two more that were killed. One was pronounced dead on the scene. The other went to the hospital and died there. Then I'm flipping through all these papers of all the injuries. Then at 1:17 on Sunday, a 5-year-old little boy was killed inside an apartment when he suffered a gunshot wound to the head. He was taken to... 5-year-old took a bullet to the head. Never made MSNBC. Never made CNN, never made CBS, didn't even make Fox. You're looking at horror. You're looking at evil. These people can't leave their house in Chicago. The Children's Hospital, later pronounced dead. Then right after that at 4:43, a 17-year-old boy was inside a residence, sustained a single gunshot wound to the head. He was transported to Chicago Medical Center in critical condition and later pronounced dead. And the list goes on and on. The next one was a 25-year-old man who was shot and killed. But I have this paper. Can we show this? Look at this. This is all...
It's pages and pages.
You won't be able to see it, but all of these pages are all of these injuries, one after another.
But the mayor says
one weekend.
Crime's under control. He said under control. We don't need any help, and we don't need any more cops. Pastor Corey Brooks.
Crime has always been part of our history.
All right, so the writing you see, my fault, mea culpa. I had left that up for, you'll see the segment where I had to put it up. So just kind of ignore that.
The judge decided to do something differently than what the prosecutors had asked for, rightfully under the law. So I think the question I have is, come on, judges, you're doing your part here. I need the judges to step up.
Where does Trump go? Migrant crime, carjackings, the really lurid, awful stuff that is a crazy, crazy visual. Don't take the bait, because most Americans are more worried about how are we going to address mental health issues, the visible homelessness that we see on streets, and how do we deal with mental health and other issues that drive the sort of random incidents that scare all of us. That's what you should be talking about. That's where you should be focused. Don't take the bait in talking about migrant crime or carjackings or the things that actually don't matter to that many Americans.
Don't really matter to that many Americans. I bet you there's, 19 who are like beg to differ. But then again, they probably do agree with you on the mental health stuff. Just not the category that you're talking about. There's a category that you're not paying any attention to. Oh, don't worry about carjackings. That's nothing. Nobody cares about that.
At 254 deaths in 233 days. 80% of those have been black boys.
I'm not sure you heard that. You may have been sneezing. You may have coughed. You may not have heard this stat from this guy in Chicago. Let me play it again and let this sink in, because wherever you live, you're probably not experiencing this in your town or city. Listen to what he says very, very carefully in the first 5 seconds here.
We've had 254 deaths in 233 days.
254 deaths in the first 233 days of the year. There are more deaths in Chicago than there have been days in the year thus far. What are they talking about that you don't need the National Guard? 250 dead people. But that's not the punchline. Here comes the punchline.
% of those have been black boys.
That's why they don't care. That's why they don't care. 80% have been black boys. Not black men, black boys. Out of 254. God help us. I mean, this is out of control. They won't even talk about it. They won't even address this.
And for anyone in our community to say that things are getting better and that people are safe, that is an outright lie. We need to do any and everything we can to keep our citizens safe. One of the number one.
All right, the reason why, this is where that lettering was supposed to be. The reason why you're seeing the shading here is because the people here don't like you to see what's going on in the city of Chicago, if you know what I mean, and I think you do.
Priorities of government is to make sure that the citizens of America stay safe, and that should be the number one priority of the governor and the mayor, but it's not. Because the only thing that they're really concerned when it comes to black lives that matter is black lives that matter that vote.
So, Rachel, let's talk about.
That is so perfect. Every 4 years, 2 or 4 years, hey, we're here, and we need you to go out here and sign up and do this stuff and vote for me. But my friends and my family are getting wasted, but everything's fine, and Trump's asking for help, but you're not going to give us any help until, 2026, about September. September, we're going to come talk to you. But if you've seen the recent numbers, Donald Trump is killing them with this issue. Pun intended. I mean, they're getting destroyed because that one man is showing people the contrast, which is why they're probably gaslighting people today. That contrast, he doesn't even have to speak about it. There's going to be enough of us showing you this video tonight. You're like, okay, I got it. They're nuts. And Morning Joe, I can't even believe a Democrat, a liberal channel, MSNBC, 2 days in a row is exposing the Democrats. He destroyed Brandon Johnson yesterday. And then listen to this piece.
That's your latest piece of Politico magazine titled, Trump is leaning on crime, which you just said. Democrats need a better response and fast. So, yeah, tell us more about what you found, because as Ali was reporting back on what Democrats were excited about, what they've done over the past 6 months,
One was a Texas redistricting move that didn't do anything. The second was Cory Booker talking for a real long time on the Senate floor, which didn't do anything. Let's talk about crime. And first thing I always ask is, if somebody's coming at me with an issue, how do I, take the issue away from them and reply in a stronger way? And, what's the Democrats' answer to that? If they're not going to be supporting more, like Bill Clinton, 100,000 cops on the street. What's the Democrats' response?
Well, you would think they would sort of use the opportunity to say, look, we're not soft on crime. You're accusing us of being soft on crime. We're not. We're going to call for more police officers. We're going to call for sort of an end to various decriminalization efforts that we've seen across the country since the 2020 George Floyd protests. There was sort of this movement to sort of back off a number of prosecutions. Voters have shown that they do not support that movement and actually have pushed back in Democratic areas like Portland, like New York, like Chicago. So you would think Democrats would sort of attack this issue that way. But I've got to say, you're not seeing a lot of leaders. And I mean, from a purely political standpoint, Donald Trump on this issue believes he has the upper hand. And I think you're seeing that right now. I mean, we see a lot of Democrats talking about how, this is authoritarian, right? But look, voters don't like overtly partisan power grabs, sure. But there's one thing they don't like even more, and that is feeling unsafe in their own neighborhoods. I mean,
it's such a simple, it gets me so worked up. Such a simple concept. Safety in your neighborhood. And they're acting like it's a Republican, Democrat issue. The Republicans, they all just want safety. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm glad some people are standing up and going, this is crazy. It's absolute crazy town. He's beat the hell out of the Democrats by just merely pointing out the fact of, I want you to be safe in your neighborhood. Doesn't seem like that should be an argumentative point.
crime is a top issue for voters, especially in recent years, and it traditionally favors Republicans in their sort of tough on crime response. I mean, you guys have talked about how you think voters in New York believe crime is coming down, but if you look at polling nationwide, that is actually not the case. I mean, I was just looking at a poll yesterday, or I guess the day before when I was writing this piece, found that 70% of Americans thought crime was just as bad right now as it had been in recent years, or is actually getting worse, and something like 20% actually thought it was coming down. So when you think about voters and how they feel right now, Trump is really leaning in and sort of latching on to those fears, changing the subject away from things like Medicaid cuts or, you know, the midterms being a referendum on.
Your Medicaid doesn't matter if you're dead. The first, most priority thing in any household is, I want you to be safe. Next thing would be finances to make sure you can take care of people. But if you're not safe, doesn't matter if there's Medicaid, doesn't matter this or that and the other thing. A 5-year-old boy just got shot in the head. That's the second one under 6. The other one's a 3-year-old girl a little while ago. Of course, safety matters first. And the Democrats have just gotten their ass beat on this.
He's trying to move it back to crime. And I mean, you asked panelists, does he have the authority to do this, to go to Chicago, to put the National Guard in New York? I would contend that it's not about winning this fight. It's about the fight itself. He wants to be the one to tell voters, I'm tough on crime. What are you going to do? And what Democrats are doing.
That's so perfect. It's not a, hey, you don't have the authority to do this. You're telling me you want to fight against the authority of keeping your people safe. I would think if I was the mayor of Murder Town, I would say I want all the help I could possibly get. I would use that as a springboard for my campaign. I'm the one who's going to work to make sure you guys are safe. I don't want Ainsley or the people at Fox and Friends doing a roll call of how many people got shot and killed every Monday morning. Well, that's a campaign promise. I'm going to keep you safe. Instead of, I don't need any help, just keep killing all the black people. That's, I don't care.
right now is saying, oh, you don't have the authority and crime is down. That doesn't resonate with people.
Yeah.
You have to have specific solutions about how you're going to protect their communities.
It cuts against the deepest principles of the country. I mean, we were founded.
Okay. Wait until you hear. I have to keep warning you guys because they say it and they say it so quickly. You may not hear the complete insult he gives to America here. This is Jamie Raskin, a sitting member of Congress who just completely blows off violence.
In opposition to a standing army, with a fear of a standing army, and the military is not supposed to be used for ordinary law enforcement purposes. In D.C., he was talking about cleaning up the graffiti and, you know, dealing with the blight of homelessness, which are obviously local, not federal issues. And he's trying to militarize our society, intimidate his political opponents. The whole idea of picking cities based on their partisan leadership is absurd. I mean, there are lots of Republican cities and towns struggling with crime. Everybody is across the country. Always, crime has always been part of our history.
Yours? I don't know. I don't live where there's a whole bunch of crime. Not part of my history. Who has... It's no big deal, man. It's just crime. It's just what you got to deal with. Accept it. Move on. Let's talk about the next subject. Something that doesn't involve me taking on Donald Trump. It's just crime. Doesn't matter where you live.
Yet crime is down. In D.C., for example, it's at a 30-year low. It's down in Baltimore. It's down in Chicago. But the point is that in our system...
Lies. You sit on a throne of lies. And even when they say down, remember what they mean when they say down. There was 3,000 people shot. 3,000 people shot in Chicago. This year, they're on pace for 2,500. Oh, it's down all right. But what do you think the 2,500 people feel who are going to get shot in that one city? Nope, they never talk about that. So it's down. It's getting better. Only 2,500 people got shot. Only 50 a week. Why is it that you're okay with black people getting shot? Why are you okay with the black community being completely war-zoned? Where people can't go out at night. Oh, that's right. It's just crime.
Federalism, the different branches of government and the different departments of government are supposed to work together. If Donald Trump thinks he's got some great ideas for Chicago or Miami or Houston, Texas or whatever, he should call a summit for the White House and say, hey, here's some ideas where the feds can work together with states and localities.
I'm pretty sure that's what he did. And I don't know why you threw Miami in there. Go F yourself. Oh my gosh. If he's got some bright idea, I think he just executed a bright idea. But again, the gaslighting is nothing happened. He didn't do anything positive because they're not talking about anything positive.
A series of rolling National Guard invasions of people's cities.
I've lost 2 first cousins to Chicago crime. I've lost distant family members, friends, neighbors. And what they want us to do is find comfort in this chaos and normalize this trauma. And we're not doing it anymore. We need our president to come here right now and do a forensic audit to find out who's getting paid and who's benefiting from this crime, because right now we're grieving. We want to get this cartel out of here. We know that the heroin highway runs directly through the west side of Chicago, and they are trafficking $2 billion worth of heroin a year out of our community. Imagine what that looks like, America. That looks like overdosing. That looks like violence. That looks like people leaning. That looks like people rocking. That looks like people dying. We don't want to live like this. My first reaction.
How hard is that to understand? Jamie, you just asked if there was an idea. These people are begging you to come clean this up. You just completely ignore them. They don't count. They don't matter. You're on CNN. How about you just go into Baltimore or Cleveland or Detroit or Chicago? How about you just go there? How about you walk around at night without security? I bet you wouldn't get 2 or 3 blocks. Go ahead and just put a shirt on and a hat and take your little behind out there by yourself, like everybody else does, and walk through the neighborhood. I dare you. I double dare you. You would never do it, but you expect these people to live that way.
Was that this is a good thing. I think that the governor as well as the mayor should be on board with it, just so we can get a bit more of security in Chicago the way that we need.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all.
Again, they're out there trying to gaslight the lady standing there. The crime has dropped since 2024. What are you talking about, lady? I live here. They sent you out here with a microphone during the day to pretend like you're gonna try and educate the people who actually live there. That's so insulting. You asked me to talk to you on camera, then you're telling me I'm wrong. It's actually gotten better. You just don't know it. I'm sorry, little black lady. You don't realize that it's gotten actually better. This is how arrogant, detached, evil these people are. What you say doesn't matter because you don't know what I know. Okay, well, you in the nice jacket and your white skin and probably rings and jewelry on. Wait till about 7, 8 o'clock at night. Wait till the sun goes down and I want you to go walking through my neighborhood. I dare you. Notice you haven't seen any of those videos. You haven't seen anybody from any of these networks saying, okay, I'm down here, I'm incognito, I've got a baseball bat, a baseball hat and a hoodie, and I'm going to walk through Southern Avenue in Washington. I'm going to go through this project in Chicago. Why don't we see those videos? Why don't we see that man on the street or that woman on the street video? Since it's down, let me show you how safe it is to walk in Chicago right now. I got the film crew with a hidden camera in my glasses, and we're gonna pop! Because it would take that long. They'd see you out there and they're peeping. What are these people doing? They gonna walk down the street here? Tell me I'm wrong. I've heard from people who live in the hood.
No, especially with the police being defunded.
We haven't even mentioned war zones like downtown San Francisco after 7 o'clock where I work, or Hollywood or Los Angeles where I work 2 months of the year. They are war zones. You can't walk outside at night, period. I don't give a damn if it's the Army, the National Guard, the FBI. I couldn't care less, and I can guarantee you 80, 90, 100% of the people there don't care either. They just want to walk outside.
I understand that people do want safety. I mean, there's no question about
safety,
that, right?
You get beaten to a pulp in broad daylight in LA.
I can't believe the news networks argue the point. You got people who live there like, I'm not going there at night. Oh, well, it's not that bad. Yeah. Prove it. Prove it. Have one of your people walk down the street at about 8:30 at night with no protection, no security, just like the people who live there, and see what happens. Call them on their bullshit, excuse my language. Call them straight out. That's why don't call me, because I would tell you that right on the set. You're full of it. You're a liar. You're gaslighting people. And if you want to prove me wrong, and I'll sit here and take every word back, go ahead, put your hair down, put on a hoodie, and walk through the city. Go for it. And I will come back on the next day. I was completely wrong. I spoke out of turn. It is much safer. You want a challenge? Do it. But they won't, because they know. And their jobs are to lie to people. And when you lie to people and you tell them that a boy can become a girl and vice versa, you get what happened today, and then you have nothing to say but hide all the evidence. Don't let people know what really happened, because you're working in collusion with the social media networks to try and take it down so nobody sees it. The percentage of people that are on X are much lower than the general population. I know that because many people have joined our private group who were never on X before. And I get all the emails like, hey, I never knew this was out here. Yep, There's all kinds of stuff out there. All kinds of stuff that you will never see on television. But most people, even in here, people are like, I don't know about X. I'm like, I don't really want... Okay. Understanding what you're seeing is the tip of the iceberg. It's called a program director who's telling you there's no details yet. Well, in closing here, I'm going to tell you you're going to see some details tonight. So I plan on, well, it's already 5:30. Whew, I got to hurry up. I got Ben coming on at 7:30. I may open the show with him and we shall talk because there's no way I'm going to be ready by 7. So let's say we'll get on at 7:30 with Ben. We'll have a conversation about what's happened today. And then when we jump over the Rumble, I'm going to show you the goodies. I am going to show you specifically what this guy has been, what he posted. Be ready. Be ready. So here, even as sad as is, the horror that happened today in Minneapolis is a wake-up call. Yep, exactly. I played Tom's music the other day. The Devil is a Democrat. I may have to play that again. I might have to do a rewrite with that one. I have an X account, just isn't as intuitive as YouTube. I don't even know what that means. It's very intuitive. It's very easy. You just have to learn it. Let's see here. The church I go to in Northern California has a security detail with guys who are packing, as well it should. I hope the FCC shuts down cable news as they are the devil's helpers. No music tonight on Rumble. I think I'll play Tom McDonald's song again. I think that might be a good lead-in to what we're gonna see. Thanks, very informative show. Thanks, Tomad's good enough. All right, so let me go ahead and get to super chat so I can get out of here, take a break, throw a sandwich down my throat, see the wife, check out the dogs, all that kind of good stuff, and then we'll get back here. I'll post the time in the X forum. If I can get everything done, I might try 7, so I have time to spend with Ben. And then, and I also got to get the videos ready because I got to make sure the volume and everything is good on them so you can hear. All right, so let's go. Situational awareness. Dem blank. Always know where your exits are and form a plan. Indeed. Ham Radio, 1981. Barry, I wish I had 1/10 of your observational powers. Thanks, Jeff. You do. You just got to get them spidey senses working. You got it. I'm pretty sure you got it, because if you have a household, you have it. You just don't probably use it. You got to hone that. Tina, 2 or 3 mass ones in Minnesota in the last 48 hours. Yeah, he's doing great. BLS, what's up, brother? I hope you're still going to show that movie Codex 9/11 tonight. I watched some of it last night before falling asleep, and my mind is blowed. If people want to stay around that long, yeah, I could do that. I had planned to, but then, of course, you saw what happened today. Just another knucklehead tip jar. I'm out of here. I don't listen to Tampon Tim and the rest of those godless horde of evildoers. You must! You have to listen to them to know what you're fighting against. CR, we still need answers from that other Minnesota. Yep. Robert Gallant, if I was a sign language translator, I'd turn to Tampon and give him the double middle fingers. Redneck veteran, Ephesians 6:10-11. Finally be strong in the Lord and his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God that you can take your stand against the devil's evil schemes. Thank you. And may God bless you too. Tim McMurray. Hey, Tim, we must be alert, vigilant, and need I say armed. Also put on the full armor of God. Indeed. Hey, buddy, thank you. Caleb McIntosh. Watch, they will somehow turn this on Trump. Oh, I'm sure. It'll be us evil Republicans. Eden's Vision. So they're saying our children are being mass taken out by women. No one, especially women, can be trusted to self-govern. And not that there's hatred for God and Christians, and there is a culture of death. Well said. Mama C. Cyrillic is Russian or Ukrainian. The last part, Das Vidanya, is goodbye in Russian. I took Russian in high school. Thank you very much. BLS again. Barry, I truly believe this dude is demonic. After you see the video, you know that is not normal stuff. I paused the video and read the whole letter. Yeah. Before we get into it, we're going to have to tell you guys to pray, because there's some crazy stuff in there. Steve, How dare you attack the Transformers community? It's obviously the pew-pew, idiotic. What do normal people do with their pew-pews? Not this. It's impossible for them to say anything against, or else they lose their supporters. Exactly. Judy Branch, where'd she go? Where'd Judy go? Oh, Barry, this is on the liberal loons. I'm so upset. Yes. Turn that upsetness into action. Vincent, Barry, I tried to let you know, is Judge Janine arrested a woman knowingly and willingly trying to kill? Yes, I did see that. I was going to cover that as well. Vishu, I'm in Wichita Falls, Texas, home of Shepherd Air Force Base, NATO training base. A bunch of big helicopters just flew over. They're headed somewhere. Interesting. Interesting. Rick Williams, when I first heard the police chief speak of those 2 children who died while their church bell is ringing, those children are telling us we are home now. Yeah, I did hear that. That was eerie. Mary Boston, DJT is sending us marshals for Lisa Cook. I saw that. I haven't been able to verify it. I hope it's true. Cutting Edge, check out, their plan to conquer Europe is, yeah, I can't even say it. They get mad. Nikki P, time to start rebuking these unclean spirits in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right, everybody. Let me go ahead and start the after party so I can get going as well. And then I'll see you 7 or 7:30, depending on how much I can get done. All right, talk to you soon.